So we're here today to talk about a crime that occurred yesterday at Sunlake High School. And yesterday only a small fraction of a video was released. And did not allow our citizens or anybody to get a full picture of what happened yesterday. Thankfully, you know, we have the transparency out there with the body-worn cameras. Those are technical devices. And as you know, everybody knows with technical devices, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. Well, it worked yesterday. It's now going to allow us to give you a much larger view of what happened yesterday. And that's what we want to make sure is that there's transparency out there so everybody sees what happened from the deputy's point of view and not just a 20-second snippet that was put on the social media. I also want to thank the students that were there yesterday that have come forward with other videos and some of their statements that there was much more to this than just what somebody was trying to put out there. There was different views, there was different angles, and they had concurred with the school resource officer that he was trying to diffuse the situation. Also, I want to give some information on SRO Rich Stackin. He's been here since 1994 at the Sheriff's Office. He's a seasoned veteran, longtime detective. He's been in our training unit. He's been a school resource officer for the past several years, and there was nothing in his file that stands out. So leading up to this video, which we're about to show you, SRO Stackin was patrolling the campus. He was notified by school administration that they needed his assistance. There was a female student. She was skipping class. She was in the cafeteria. She was causing a disruption. School administrators had tried to de-escalate the situation themselves. She refused to listen to them, and she actually started elevating the situation, which they were concerned because there's numerous students in the cafeteria at the time, and they believed this was going to cause even greater ruckus. So with that, let me turn on the video for you.
Which one is it? All right.
I said he can do it, and don't you think he can? See, Miller? Who? Miller?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hello. What's going on?
Well, I was told I'm going to be handcuffed.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, come on out here and talk to me for a second.
Well, about what? I can tell you right here.
No, come on out here and talk to me. So we can discuss what's going on. No, right out here. But you're not even dressed properly.
Yeah, she has to go in this kitchen. I'm not dressed.
Here, come here. All right. Yeah. See, now you're testing me. Well, come on outside and talk to me. I won't have to lay a hand on you. You got it? You're on video right now. And right now you're disrupting everything that's going on right now. You hear me?
Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm finished my online class, and I'm sitting here online.
Okay.
This bitch over here told me that, oh, you can't be here.
Oh, she is now.
They are making this
So they don't get involved in this. Let me in there and deal with it, okay? I don't want you to get in any trouble.
Me neither.
Okay, but
I'm already getting in trouble, so why do I have to join my friends?
you can't do that. Because right now you're creating a disruption. You got her here, okay? Come on out here.
I lost my translation.
Stand up.
No, don't touch me.
Stand up.
Do not touch me.
Stand up.
Don't touch me.
Everybody out. Get everybody out. Get these guys out of here. Out. Go.
Oh, now you want to touch? I'm not going to hurt you.
Don't fucking give me any shit. Now give me your hand. What the hell is going on with you guys? Huh? What is going on with you? This is what I gotta do every fucking day now?
You're hurting me.
Well, you probably should have thought about that before you
I
decided
was
to
going to
do
hurt
it.
you. I was going to
Roll over. Stand up.
Let's go. Ow! Stop fucking hurting me. You stole my phone?
No, that's your phone right there.
Why'd you throw it?
Now shut your mouth
Why'd
and
you
relax.
throw it?
I think we need to check her for maybe having drugs, because she's acting very strange. Can you test her for drugs?
Yep. Go. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely ridiculous. Oh, too bad. Too bad. That's what happens when you resist. Sit down. Sit down.
Don't touch me like that. Let him have breath now.
Not touching you. Where do you want to go?
Up to my office. For resisting and also for obstruction, as well as campus disruption.
It wasn't discussion for you.
When you told me.
We're skipping.
Come on. All right, hold on to this one. Yeah, right there. Yeah, hold on to that. I'm gonna undo one of the cuffs. Don't do anything stupid. Let go. All right, that was good. Check that. Trying to be helpful to you, but you had to go and do that. And this is where we're at. Well, guess what? You shouldn't have stood up and came at me, because that's why you ended up on the ground. I got everything on video. You might not have realized what you were doing. You don't resist me. When I put my hands on you, it's for a reason. There ain't no reason for you to sit there and try to pull away and resist me. That's why you ended up on the ground. Well, you probably should have listened to what I had to say, and I was trying to be nice to you, but you didn't. Bad decisions. A guy like doing this stuff? No. Apparently, yeah, I've done it twice because people don't listen. It's more than that. Do you not understand that? Yeah, you've got a problem grasping your hand around that concept, don't you? When an adult tells you to do something here at the school, you do it. Simple as that. This isn't a hard concept. Hey, is the on-cop coming up here? Yeah, make sure she comes on up here because we need to do the discipline and parental notification.
Last statement, if you didn't hear it, I'll talk about it in a little bit, but the, you hear over the radio somebody say, please have somebody go to the cafeteria, the students are still riled up. So just kind of going back to that video, what you just saw, and because of public records laws, it's a lot blurry. I understand that. We have the full video that's clear, and I could tell you, you're seeing a lot of videos out there that are clear. Numerous times did the SRO tell her, please, let's just go outside. Let's de-escalate the situation. Come on. You actually see him walking out there. He was trying to remove her from that situation. He was trying to remove her because she was being disruptive and all the other students around there were starting to be disruptive. But she wouldn't comply. She wouldn't comply. She was actually making scenes. She was raising her voice. She was doing what she wanted to do. And she was not listening to anybody in authority there. So what you don't see because of the blurry, what we saw, and what we actually just saw, somebody else just posted this a little while ago. It's a picture. You actually see the student raising her arm and coming down towards SRO Stacking. He did an armbar takedown. He grabbed her arm and he took her down. That's something we do in training. That's something we do to ensure the safety of the person that we're dealing with, the deputy, and everybody else around her. The other one too is we wanted to make sure we get her out of there as quickly as possible. He didn't want to keep delaying that situation, delaying it, because the more you delay it, the more chaos it creates. And that was the other part of the public safety issue we had going on there. As everybody sees, he had to make a split-second decision. It's very easy for everybody else to say this is what he should have done, could have done, but at the same time, none of us were there except for him having to make that decision. He's the one who had to make that decision in a split second what he was going to do. It's actually interesting. We have another video where he's talking to the parents of this student. And the parents come in and they're talking, and during that video, you hear him say to the father, because at the time I believe the mother's talking to a school administrator in the same room, he says, look, I did everything I could do. I didn't want to tase her. I didn't want to pepper spray her. So yes, did I have to put my hands on her? Yes, I did. But look at that. He knew he had numerous options at the time, but he was doing everything possible to de-escalate the situation and get it out of that cafeteria as quickly as possible. As I go back to, you hear, talking about that school, it just reiterates that whole thing with the school safety officer. You hear somebody on there say to somebody, one of the administrators say, the kids in the cafeteria, the teens are still riled up. They're still acting up because of this incident. And we saw how quickly it happened. But at the same time, had that going on and on, it would have created even more problems. Right now, the student was charged with resisting without violence and disruption for school function. And I go back to that other video where he's talking to the parents. He even tells the parents, look, I'm good with sending her through diversion. I'm good with not having this on her permanent record. As much as what you saw and what people were putting out there in public, in the media and social media about, what the SRO and their opinions, there was still compassion there. There was still, hey, look, there's something going on here that's much bigger than this one incident. We can get it so it's not on a permanent record if she just does the right thing. When the incident came out yesterday, late yesterday afternoon, we had supervisors and professional standards review it. We were told last night that the student was going to the hospital for injuries that she had received. On the way, we actually called and we found out that she was at the house. We went to the house last night and the parents said they don't want to discuss or talk to us at this time. So that's where we are with all the information we had. It was the videos that we saw, the information we had from the deputy, the statements that were made at the school. So, after reviewing everything through our professional standards, with our school resource officers, with our supervisors, all actions is that the school resource officer did, in his roles and responsibility, did what he had to do to arrest the individual who was swinging her arm at him, to defuse the situation, and to ensure there was safety throughout the school. So with that, I can imagine there's some questions. So,
Can you spell out the officer's name by then, please?
Rich, and it's, I always say Stackon, S-T-A-C-K-O-N. There's no T in there. I always want to put it T.
Deputy. Yes, sir. It's Deputy Rich.
Rich, yep.
Sorry. How did you feel when you heard him use the language that he used, considering what was going on?
This is a tough situation. I mean, I can imagine he was disappointed. You can hear in his voice he's disappointed because he's saying to her, you know, come on, let's just go outside. Let's go. It's almost to the point of disbelief that it's getting raised to this level where she's not going on. You know, I'm more concerned about her actions than anything else. And if we're in a society now that we're more concerned about the language a deputy used to try to defuse the situation to ensure the safety of her and everybody else around her, we got much larger issues, because that's the problem. If teenagers and children in schools believe they have more authority than the teachers, the principal, administrators, and school resource officers, we're in a lot more trouble than we think we are.
The reason I brought that up is because he also, in addition to using that language, says something about how, why do you guys make me keep doing this every day?
Right.
And to me, and I could see how it is possible that other parents who are out there might say, is this deputy, this SRO, walking into school every day with a chip on his shoulder, that these kids infuriate him every day, and that this is an overreaction?
Right. No, I don't think it's an overreaction. I mean, if you look at it, he could have pepper sprayed her. You know, there's the things he's saying. He could have pepper sprayed, tased. These are things that he's saying he did everything he could. If he was overreacting, from the very moment, he would have, you know, taken those actions he would have taken. But he waited because she's the one who actually attempted to strike him first. He tried to de-escalate it, bring it outside, but I can believe the disbelief in him, because how many times do you have to tell somebody, please, let's go outside, please calm down? How many times those administrators in that school, she was skipping class, and as it comes out in another video, this is something she's been doing. And so, from a teacher standpoint, from a administrator standpoint, you know, when you're dealing with somebody who's consistently breaking the rules of a school and then creates a criminal act, I think the onus goes on her rather than on anybody else.
But what I'm saying is that you could see that he is frustrated with the conduct of his. I would be too. And
Right.
God bless him. But he indicates that by saying, do I have to deal with this every day? Is it possible that you need to take a look at some point and say, maybe every once in a while these guys need to break away from this in order to maybe be doing something else and let things settle a little bit emotionally?
I don't want to speak on behalf of teachers across America, but if that's the stance, I would think teachers probably need a sabbatical every month or so, because if they're tired of dealing with frustration of, you know, students not listening, so I mean, I think this is a societal issue. I can imagine there's people at home right now saying this would have never happened when I was a student. There are people but this is a societal issue we're dealing with, where people are not listening to authority, and they're doing their own thing. And now, you know, she was probably, you know, playing up when people to the camera. So these are things that I think this is not a issue where, you know, the teachers, the school resource, the principals, I can imagine over time they get frustrated. I can absolutely believe that they get frustrated. But he actually just said it. He said, yeah, it gets frustrating. I can imagine there's teachers out there in America right now that are going, can you please calm down? I'm tired every day. By 2 o'clock, you are not listening to me. So should that teacher be taken out of school?
Well, I just know that in a world where we're about to put SROs in a lot more classrooms and schools out there,
Right.
That if there is that possibility for frustration to influence the conduct of SROs in those schools,
Right.
Isn't that something that needs to be looked at?
I think his conduct was good. I think his conduct was above and beyond, where you see other incidents where, you know, they would have done something differently from the very beginning. He was trying to defuse the situation, but at what point should he have taken action? Should he have stood there for an hour and allow, you know, just her to create more chaos and more chaos? So I think that's something important, but you know what law enforcement has to deal with every day. It's a tough job. That's why we deal with PTS. That's why we deal with training all the time and those type of things. But at the same time is, you know, I think it's the onus of the whole issue is on that student, not on that SRO.
Did she have, I heard somebody say check her for drugs. Did you find anything? Did they find anything?
That's still part of the investigation with the school. I'm not going, my role and why I came out here today is not to say anything about this student. There are issues that I'm not going to get into that have happened in the past in this school. involving the student, but I'm not going to get into that because that's not what I'm out here today to do, is talk about what the school resource officer did, how this occurred, and what happened. But to talk about her past and everything, that's not what I'm here for, because this young lady, I hope that her actions today or yesterday were the last times that could be negative actions in her life. I hope she goes on and succeeds in life, and that'd be the last thing is that we want to, you know, I can imagine from the video and what people are going to say. I don't want her, I hope she can succeed, but I don't want to come out here and speak and say anything negatively that can impact her in the future.
Sheriff, we spoke with the student's mom. We know the family filed a complaint. The mom was saying that she admits that her daughter was skipping class, but she said that the way the officer handled it was excessive, causing a concussion. What do you say to the family?
The complaint as to that, we're still waiting to see a formal complaint come in. She had said she wanted to talk to us, and so we were wanting to go talk to her, and then last night they said they're not speaking to us. You know, they don't want to speak to us at this time. As to the injuries, that's why we went out there last night. So I don't know, we want to know what injuries were caused. We want to know that because we went out there last night and they told us they don't want to speak to us at this time. So I hope that she goes directly to us and rather through reporters to tell us what's going on in the situation. As to the family, I don't think they ever saw this video. I don't think anybody saw this video until today. So that's why we would love for them to come in. We wanted them to come in to see this. And so the other part of it is we have a video where our school resource officers talking to the parents, explaining everything that went on. And so that was very revealing to us, that conversation about how, you know, he showed empathy for the student, saying, hey, I want the student to succeed. You know, I don't want charges, permanent charges, go through diversion. So I would hope that the family would come in directly, talk to our supervisors, talk to, you know, if they're going to file a complaint, we can go through that route, a formal complaint. But last night, they told our people they don't want to speak to us at this time.
The officer taking her down happened so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us kind of a play-by-play? I mean, did he like try to make her stand up and then she raised her hand? Do we know what happened?
She was up, she raises her arm, and there's actually a video out there that it's not sheriff's office video, it's from a student in the school, and you actually see it coming down. He grabs her wrist, does a takedown move, and it's a very quick movement. It's a very, very fast movement to take her to the ground to get control and compliance, which he did. So he takes her to the ground, she lands on the school bags, he gets her in a position where he can control her, and then he takes her outside and puts the handcuffs on her.
There's a moment in the video where they reference a different incident with another student. Do you guys know anything about what they were talking about regarding that? It was when they were in the golf cart.
I don't know. I know she had been in previous incidents. I'm not sure if those two, I don't know. I apologize, yeah.
Yeah, he said something about having this being his second incident with the student where he's had to do this type of thing. So I was just
I may have had to arrest other students in the past, I'm not sure. Yeah.
How many times had she been asked to go back to class? I had a student tell me that it was 10 times between the faculty and the SRO.
It could have been. I know leading up to this event, the administrators had been in the cafeteria asking her to leave, asking her to go back to class, and that's why they notified the school resource officer, because there's a fine line in the schools where it's a school-related function and administrators have their role and responsibility, and then becomes an SRO-related function because it's law enforcement-related. When it got to the point where there was causing a disruption in this cafeteria, causing a scene, causing an incident that could have grew into something much worse, that's when they notified the school resource officer to please help to try to diffuse that situation.
This is, you know, another example of how a short video clip, or maybe several clips, spread online, Twitter, Facebook. How do you stay ahead of that, combat that in the future?
And I can tell you, it was a sleepless night for a lot of us because of that decisions. You think about in law enforcement now, you know, 10 years ago, you didn't have to worry about a short video clip going out there and creating public opinion before all the facts are out there. But think about society right now. Right now, you put out a short video, and all of a sudden, there was a lot of people making opinions up, saying, hey, this is what I think, and that could have led into something much worse. So, but at the same time yeah, we were out thinking last night, saying, do we put this out there right now? But at the same time, we didn't have all the facts and circumstances. We didn't have all the information we wanted. So we understand that there's a different level for law enforcement compared to the average person who has a cell phone. The average person with a cell phone gets to just do whatever they want and throw it out there. You saw our video. There's probably a lot of you that are frustrated going, no, this is really nothing, because there's a lot of blurry people right there. But at the same time, our rules are much different than their rules. We can't show those things because we follow state statute. The average person pulls out a cell phone, does whatever they want, and just throws it out there on social media. So we had a very fine balance last night. We said, well, let's get everything we can. So tomorrow, hopefully, to the meeting today, we were able to put something out there to show you, because it's about transparency. The longer you let this go out there, the more people build their opinions, and the more people go on and say, well, this is what I think happened, and that is what's dangerous. But at the same time is, we were able to get this out today, expedite it, and give it to you so that everybody sees a different side of it. I wish this is a better video for our citizens, but understand this. If this goes in, legal court or those type of procedures, it's not blurred out. And when it's not blurred out, it's a much clearer picture as to what happened.
So Deputy Stacken was doing something else today. Based upon this and your feelings about this, does he go back to work at this school, or would he be ineffective there at this point and needs to be reassigned?
No, I think he could go back to that school. We took him out of that school today because we weren't able to look at all the information. And that's what I say, with all the information we have right now, and this is back to the family, if they have different information, that we want to know about that, tell us. But when our detectives go to the house last night and they say, we don't want to speak to you, we can't force them to speak to us. So yes, with all the information we have at this time, with everything we have, all the information that continues to come in from students that are showing videos and sharing them, yes, everything implies that he did what he was supposed to do in his role and responsibility, and he'll be going back into that school again. Tomorrow? Or you're going to plan to go there? In the near future. I don't want to set him up.
I gotta be careful.
Yeah.
How long have you been at the school?
Several years.
Several years.
Yeah.
And you said you've been with the sheriff's office since '94?
Yes, ma'am. All right. Well, I appreciate it, everyone. Thank you very much.